Part D also is a lifetime penalty, unfortunately. So Part D comes into the space where you do not have either credible coverage. The coverage for your prescription drugs has to be equal to or better than what Medicare has in order for it to be listed as what we say is credible coverage. IRMAA, which is, go figure, another acronym that we actually...
IRMAA.
Which actually stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Brad and Mike Show. This episode is Medicare Penalties, How People Get Burned. I have it written down over here, and it is, we're going to talk about the penalties that are associated with Medicare today.
We are.
And no one wants to get a penalty. You know, that's a bad thing. Is
that the Italian word?
That's how you say it in Italian, a penalty.
Is that like fragile?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? But no one wants a penalty.
No one wants a penalty.
Unless you're getting revenge on someone and they're smashing them into the boards, right? Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that's okay then.
Double minor.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. As long as you don't get scored on in the power play.
There you go.
That being said, there are not a lot, but there are some penalties to be aware of.
Yes.
As it relates to Medicare.
Yep.
So first and foremost, we have Medicare Part A, we have Medicare Part B.
Yep.
C being either a Medicare Advantage plan or a supplement plan, and then Part D. And there are penalties associated with Part A, Part B, and Part D. I know, right? So
there we go.
What are the penalties? So let's start it with Part A.
Okay. So realistically, with Part A, the penalty really only comes into play in the event that you have to pay for Part A. So this is going to be a key for this, because most people, and why I say most people, is that they look at it to say if you've worked 40 or more quarters in your lifetime, so
which is the equivalent of 10 years.
10 years.
Right.
Now, it could be for you or your spouse, because in some cases what ends up happening is maybe you have a spouse that stays home with the kids. If that happens to be the case, well, guess what? They're not working outside the home.
You may not see that so much these days, but yes, there's still lots of people who choose to. It could also be, the husband as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why they call it a spouse.
Yeah, it's indeed. Indeed.
So if you happen to work less than 40 quarters throughout the course of your lifetime, there's basically going to be an area.
When you say through the course of your lifetime, you mean up to retirement age, until the age of 65 when you actually are fined for Medicare.
Well, yeah, I mean, or at the same point in time, you maybe, have worked in other ways and that type of stuff. I mean, it's all based on the number of quarters that you've worked throughout the course of your lifetime. So that's really the key.
Worked and paid into Social Security.
That is correct.
That's what you could have worked and not paid into Social Security if you could have been on the down low. That doesn't count.
And that's actually a very, very good point, in that sometimes people have worked, quote unquote, under the table, which never happens, right?
Right, of course not.
We cannot. But that's not reported income.
Right.
So that becomes an issue at that point in time.
That's right. So if you're a 1099er and you're thinking you're getting over, and you came up short of your 40 quarters.
Well, if you're 1099 and you're paying your taxes, this is going to be for more of those people that it's like, hey, Bob, there's no taxes, there's no information. Like Social Security doesn't know who you are. You're off grid.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. I know these days being off grid is all the rage, but when it comes to this, you don't want to be off grid.
No, you don't want to be off grid.
Right.
So if that happens to be the case, then you actually will pay a penalty, and it's a 10% penalty based off of whatever the amount is in the length of time that you did not have it. So meaning that the penalty, for instance, is going to be 10% per year that you would actually have based on whatever that premium happened to be. So if you didn't have it for 2 years, it's a 20% penalty. And then that penalty actually is double the length of time that you didn't
4
have.
years.
So it'd be 4 years.
So the penalty lasts 4 years.
Penalty lasts 4 years, then goes away. But if you did 3 years, 30%, now it's a 6-year penalty.
Yep.
And that's going to be something that will go away, but that's not the case with Part B or Part D.
No, and that's just Part A. So let's reiterate. Let's just put it in a nice little neat bow and a little package there for Part A. Part A is 10%.
10%, over the number of years that you did not have it. So it's 10% per year.
Right.
And then that penalty actually lasts twice the amount of time that you did not have coverage. So if it's 1 year, 2-year penalty.
Yep.
2 years you didn't have it, 4-year penalty.
Yep.
You just keep doing the math.
Right, yeah, 5 year, 10-year penalty. Right.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No, you do not.
No, because that's going to be a big, ugly number.
It is going to be a big, ugly
Yep.
number. So When it's time to register for Part A, Part B, register and avoid the penalties. But
correct.
there's a different penalty circumstance for Part B.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's walk down that road.
Ooh, Part B penalty.
Part B penalty. So the Part B penalty, again, 10%
Yes.
of the monthly premium.
10% of the actual premium that you actually do have at that point in time. Now, the other part with Part B, though, is that it is a lifetime penalty.
Dun, 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 for the rest of your life.
That you have, that you have Part B. So, I mean, if you have a person that got, I don't want Part B anymore, I'm going completely on my own. Well, you're not going to have that penalty because you don't have it.
Sure.
But as long as you are enrolled in Medicare at that point in time, that penalty is going to be an ongoing penalty for the rest of your actual life that you do have that Part B coverage. So big thing to realize at that point in time is that it's going to be a 10% penalty, and it's going to be based off of the cost of the actual amount. I mean, let's see what it is in 2026, because it changes every year.
It does.
So let's see here. So basically right now, 20% penalty. So it looks like, because the monthly premium right now is going to be based off of the 202.90. That's
202.90 for 2026. That's correct.
Yep. Yeah. So then that penalty is based on exactly how, what the percentage is. So if you didn't have it, so if you went 2 years without it, you have 24 months at that point in time, or 2 years. So 10%, 20% penalty, and then it's multiplied based off of the actual premium at that point in time, which is 202.90. Don't ask me to do the math because I'm not a math guy.
Yeah, right. So I guess in terms of Part A and Part B, and again, as I said just a few moments ago, avoid the penalty and register. Just don't avoid register. Don't put it off. Don't procrastinate. Just go online, or you can set an appointment and go to the Social Security office. They'll be happy to sit down with you. They'll walk you right through it. It's actually quite painless. Either way, I've talked to people who've gone online and done it, and they're like, yeah, it was easy peasy. Mm-hmm. And people have gone on, and they couldn't have been nicer. It was way better than the Secretary of State. So,
depending on the state that you're in.
Well, that's true. Yeah. If you happen to be watching Ohio, I'm sorry if you've had luck. That being said, I have to talk smack on Ohio.
Because they have bad ones? Is that what you're saying?
No.
They might think we do.
Just because it's Ohio.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. That team down south. Anyhow.
Some people call them.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yep.
So now let's talk about Part B.
D penalty. Okay. So Part D also is a lifetime penalty, unfortunately. So Part D comes into the space where you do not have either credible coverage for that. That's probably another thing we didn't touch on with Part B, is that if you do have credible coverage, don't sign up for Part B. You can delay that and you're fine. There's no penalty associated with not enrolling with Part B. Maybe if you're continuing to work, if you continue to have through your workplace credible coverage, meaning health insurance, then you're good on Part B. So I want to just
to step back to say there is no penalty on Part B if you're on your company's health insurance. It's deemed credible coverage, and you're on the health insurance and you don't register for Part B, you're good, no penalty. It's only after you come off your employer's insurance and you register for Part B again, or don't register for Part B, and then that's where you run into trouble. Sure.
Glad to remember that.
Yeah, sure.
But the other part of it, though, too, is on Part D. That really comes into play, same type of scenario, where if you don't have credible coverage through your employer, you do need to pick up Part D. And the Part D on this can be a little tricky in that, in some cases, what does happen is that, you might have health insurance through your company. Mm-hmm. Now, your company's plan, while you might have health insurance, how Medicare looks at Part D coverage is that the coverage for your prescription drugs has to be equal to or better than what Medicare has in order for it to be listed as what we say is credible coverage. Mm-hmm. If it does not, you will want to make sure that you actually do sign up for a Part D plan. Even though you have your company's healthcare plan, you still need to actually enroll in Medicare Part D at that point in time to make sure that you have a plan in place, because it's not considered credible coverage. And if you don't, then that penalty, lifelong penalty, is going to come into play, which realistically is going to be 1% every single month that you don't qualify, and it's a running total. So if it's 9 months that you don't have it, it's based on that 9%. If it's then based off of 23 months or 36 months, every single month it's another percent that you pay. Now the premium, how it's calculated is it's actually calculated based on a national plan that they have selected. So in 2026, that number is going to be, the premium they're using for 2026 is $38.99. So if you actually went for that period of time, they basically take that penalty, and then it's going to be the percentage of that $38.99. So if it's 10% that you owe, $38.99 is $3.90.
And that's what I was going to say. I was going to say the Part D penalties are often not
as large.
As large. They're not. And people say, oh well, $5 was $5, whatever.
Well, over the course of a lifetime.
Yeah, of course. The idea is why don't procrastinate. Don't put yourself in a position where you are getting a penalty. The other thing to note here, as you had made mention earlier about your employer's part or drug coverage on if you happen to be on your
Group plan.
employer's group plan.
Mhm.
What we're seeing now are more and more companies are pushing up the deductibles, looking to trim down because the cost of health insurance is becoming, obviously it goes up each and every year, and
Mhm.
so it probably the best piece of advice is to talk to HR
Mhm.
or B, the owner of your company, whatever, and ask the question.
Or call us and we can kind of help you.
Or give us a call. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Or www.bradmike.com, 1-800.
1-800 what? We got an 800 number.
Yeah,
Nice.
no, we
Good to
don't.
know.
734
927. Or
09
actually, the
yeah, that-
259
Oh my
6750
goodness.
number.
Yeah.
That does
we're all over
happen
the
every
place.
once in a while.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's the recorded line, which
Yeah.
is important.
Which is important because you do need to do that when we're talking about Medicare. That's
Yeah.
important.
So anytime that you
Because that
call
comes
in,
a fine to us if we don't
it's
actually.
true.
have
So
it,
every conversation we ever have about Medicare is recorded.
has to be.
Yes, by law.
Mhm.
So,
CMS guidelines.
well, so that's the penalties for Part A
Part B and Part D.
So
So-
now let's talk about IRMAA.
Oh, IRMAA. So really, IRMAA is not so much as a penalty.
It's not a
but
penalty. It's not a penalty.
It's not a penalty, but at the same time, those that actually have to pay an increased
They might
amount,
look at it.
They
that
might
way.
look at
They
that as
might
being a
look at it that
penalty.
way just simply because they don't want to be charged more, and the cost is prorated against your income.
Well, it's based off of your income, but here's
Right.
the thing that happens with IRMAA that most people never see until it's too late. So it's a 2-year look back.
It is a 2-year look back. So
So-
2026 is for 2024 numbers.
That's correct. So
Yeah.
the big issue that you really have is that somebody could have, let's say, just retired. And this is one of the types of things that we do see with people right now is that they're converting over their IRAs
Yep,
to a
it's kind
Roth
of
IRA.
conversion. That's right.
And when something like that occurs, that's going to show up as income. Now, it might not show up as far as for you thinking anything right now that you converted it, you pay your taxes and everything else, and you do all that. Well, because this is a 2-year look back, this goes back 2 years. And so this is kind of a ticking time bomb that you have no clue that's out there. So you have to be aware that your income probably skyrocketed, which means that you'll actually pay an additional amount on your Part B and your Part D premiums because
Yeah.
you're in a specific income bracket. Now, they're all listed directly online. Every year they're updated. You just basically have to go search for it. If you look for it, it's called IRMAA, which is, go figure, another acronym that we actually.
IRMAA.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
which actually stands for, or what does it stand for? I don't even know if it's on here somewhere. Income related monthly adjustment amount.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
so,
the income related monthly adjustment amount. So if you're making more than $109,000 a year, and these are the 20
as of this year. 'cause-
As of
'cause
this year,
last year was a
and
little
this
bit
is for
less.
this
So-
is for 2024's numbers. You have
Correct.
to remember this. More than 109 as an individual, you're going to pay a little bit more for
Yes.
your Part B.
Yep.
Jointly, it's 218, and then it goes up in brackets all the way up to jointly 750,000.
Now, in many
Yeah.
cases, your accountant will probably give you a heads up, or if you
They
have
should.
a very good, person that's doing your money management and that type of thing, they'll try and make sure that they mitigate this as
Keep you
much
under
as
those
possible.
numbers.
Because instead of, what we've seen happen is that instead of them doing the entire IRA at that point in time in one shot, they might break it up over 3 to 4
Distribute,
years.
yeah.
So it's 25% over the 4 years, and that's got to keep you lower.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, that can happen as well is you may have a situation where Somebody might be in sales, and it might be their last year or two that they're with the
They hit
organization.
big, yeah.
They hit big on
had
something.
a big client,
Yeah.
got paid a lot in commissions, and boom. And the other thing to remember is typically people at the very end of their working careers are also at their highest earning potential.
Mhm.
Right? So
Yes.
typically as you near towards the end of your career, you're probably earning more than you did when you were younger. And
I hope so.
well, yeah, typically, it's typical. Not always,
Yeah.
not always, but typically. But typically, you are earning more, so you have to be cognizant of that.
Well, you got to be cognizant, but at the same time, there are ways to adjust that. So, meaning that
Yes,
once
talk
you
with your accountant.
we'll talk to your accountant or let us know, because there are forms that the IRS does have, so you can actually go through if you had
Sure.
that change where
You can challenge the
well, let's
the
say, for
numbers.
instance, I mean, in some cases, people may have gotten divorced, and one spouse may have received a large
Lump
settlement
sum
at that
payment.
point
Yeah,
in time.
that's right.
And so there's forms that can be filed that can help alleviate those actual
those numbers,
increases
right.
at that point in time.
So I guess
Just call us.
Yeah, if you find yourself in that position where you're like, geez, I don't know, yeah, just give us a shot. We'll help you walk through it. At the
Yep.
very least, advise you to consult with your accountant, or do our very best to walk you through what's allowable, with AMA. The other thing to note here, and what we didn't talk about as far as the IRMAA goes,
Yeah.
is the IRMAA is in addition to the base cost of Part B, which is $202.90
in
for
2026.
2026.
Yep. Mhm.
It's $202.90 a month for everyone.
Correct. You're not that special.
I'm not. And neither are you. Or soon.
Never said it.
Yeah.
I
just
might be a little ways away from
Yeah. You just got to be aware of that. And often people get mad. What do you mean I've got to pay that? What do you mean there's a cost for it? Well, it's the same for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not like they're purposely singling
There's
you out for
just you, Brad.
financial punishment.
Just you.
Yeah, just me.
That's you.
Well, that's the way sometimes people get. Well, at least
Yeah.
that's the intonation they have in their voice.
Yes.
That being said,
Mhm.
I think that kind of puts us in a position here to end this particular podcast
Yeah.
as it relates to the penalties. Now, look, it's a lot of information. We understand that. You might have questions. Yes, you can go online and you can Google this. You can speak right into your phone and have any of the AI engines that you may be available, and they'll tell you, or just give us a call and we'll walk you through it.
Yep, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
we appreciate your time today for
Yep.
sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
And subscribe. That's how you say it.
Is that
That's
how
how all
it's-
the cool YouTubers do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm not a cool YouTuber.
Well, neither am I. So, well, hopefully someday.
I'm an old guy. I get to tell dad jokes. So.
Very good. Well, tell us one.
No.
All right, good deal. All right, so that's it.
Cool.
And that's all we got for this episode.
All righty, guys.